Hello and welcome to another Warcraft III audio commentary. Today we're going to be watching a best of 3 from the quarterfinals of ZOTAC number 267 that was played just a couple days ago. And just so you know, I did actually live cast some of those games with Bidu Jr. And if you'd like to watch those games, if you'd like to watch the live cast, I'll be honest, the production quality is fairly shoddy and there's some lag. But if you want to check it out anyway, you can check it out. It's at twitch.tv/Purebe, and there'll be a link in the description if you'd like to check that out. There are VODs up for that. And so yeah, this is the game. This is the quarterfinals. This is going to be on Echo Isles actually, and this is going to be between Kenshin spawning in as the red human on the left side of the map versus faculty.sokol.n spawning in as the dark green orc on the right side of the map. So this is going to be an interesting game, certainly, especially if you don't know who has made it to the finals of ZOTAC. Now, I know I haven't had Warcraft III content up on the channel for the past couple of days. Honestly, part of that was because of the fact that I did the live cast, and on Saturday I did like a lot of live casting. I did a lot of casting on Saturday, and pretty much all of the content that has been up on the channel has come directly from what I did on Saturday. And that's why there hasn't been a lot of Warcraft III content, but there's been that other stuff. It just took time to process it all, and I haven't had any time to actually cast since Saturday. So it's really been unfortunate, but that's really all that's going on there. It's not, I'm not trying to abandon Warcraft III. Some people sent me a message saying, what's up with the Dota and the Minecraft? No, it's still Warcraft III, don't worry. Now, we can actually see Kenshin going with a Mountain King first. Very interesting pick. We can see Kenshin going ahead and getting that footman out. Going to be able to attack this scout peon inside of the base. You can see over here that Sokol is doing a Blade Master first with Grunts build, going to be able to get that shop up. That shop up is going to be a little bit going to go up a little bit after the Blade Master comes out, so we might see him creeping out that natural green camp right there. We'll have to wait and see exactly what he chooses to do. But that scout is going to be able to scout the Mountain King first that Kenshin was trying to hide. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do so. And yes, indeed, we're going to see that Blade Master going for the creep right here. Going to pull those out properly so that the Grunt gets ensnared right beside the Ogre. And that's really nicely to do. It's a really nice little micro trick. And trick. And down here we can see that Kenshin is going to be down here creeping out this mercenary camp using militia. And that's going to allow him to go ahead and purchase a mercenary camp and quickly creep this while taking minimal amounts of damage, as you can see. And actually, you might have noticed that he has 2 militia down here at this end. But he also brought 4 militia up at the top, and that was simply to take out the big guy as well as the slowing creep. And these guys down here are a little bit annoying, so it's good to just separate the creep camp out like that if you can't pull it out. And human players really don't have time to pull it out. It'd be a bit messy, and they have militia and all that, so not really their best interest right there. Now we can see the Blade Master as well as the Grunt. Of course, one thing to see as he moves across the map, he always takes 1 hero this way and 1 unit up this way. And that just allows you to scout for any particular, just in case the human player's up here and both units are down here, it's better just to have 1 up here and 1 down here. Gives you valuable information. We can also see there's a scout footman right here just running across the map, checking out what's going on the map. And over here we can see that the Mountain King is now very close to level 3. He's halfway through level 2 if I can click on him. Does have a Boots of Speed, which is a great item to pick up for a Mountain King, especially on Echo Isles where there's only 1 shop, and chances are the Blade Master is going to be able to buy that Boots of Speed. Now, that's always not saying that the Mountain King is going to want to go buy a Boots of Speed, but it's certainly an item worth having. It's a great item. He's not a very fast hero as it is, definitely not as fast as the Blade Master, so a Boots of Speed is a big deal because that Blade Master will automatically be faster, as well as once he gets the Boots of Speed himself, as you can see he's on his way to go pick up real quick, then it's just dangerous. Now we might see the Blade Master coming in here and trying to harass us. It does look like it's going to be an expansion attempt. Here comes the Lumber Mill, and so there are militia down here. Yes indeed, they're going to wait until they become peasants, sit around with the human army. And over here we can see, yes indeed, here comes the Orc player with that Boots of Speed. Of course it spawns in at 1900, so it's been up for a little bit. And the 2 Grunts going to be able to try to start fighting this. Mountain King actually going to do a lot of damage to that Blade Master and going to force the Blade Master into Windwalk. However, we're going to see a tower first coming up. We might be seeing a shop coming up as well. A shop is generally not uncommon to see being built at the humans expansion attempt before we put up the main. This is just pretty much because if you're worried about the consistent fights that you're going to have to take, you can actually see it looks like one of these footmen just going to take a little bit of damage from that Blade Master. But then again, to be honest, it might not be seeing a shot just because the Orc army really isn't strong enough to actually beat this army down here at all, and it's not really strong enough even with its healing salve. So, and it looks like that's not going to be the case. We're not going to be seeing a shot being put up first, and that's probably a good decision because the Mountain King is level 3 now, and he's very, very capable of absolutely just demolishing this Blade Master using bolts. And we do see these 2 grunts, or 3 grunts up here. I'm going to go ahead and see that nice little wind walk dodge on that bolt right there, the storm bolt, and now we can see the Mountain King actually going to have to be forced to run away by himself, not capable of doing that. Nice, very nice bolt. Tried to get the dodge off with the wind walk, not going to happen. And here we can see maybe we're going to see a grunt go down to a storm bolt. It could happen, but he might not want to run his Mountain King back that way. If he does, he's going to take a lot more damage on the Mountain King. Went for the bolt. The wind walk came out before, and he is, of course, popping clarity as well as healing salve on that Blade Master. So up we see, we might be seeing the human player go ahead and try to creep this out. Probably won't see that just because he has to be wary of the fact that the Blade Master is going to be there and Windwalk, and the grunts are going to be very close as well. And we can see that. And here we can actually see the Blade Master going to go ahead and open up on the Mountain King, trying to do some more damage. Of course, that Blade Master is very full on life right now, but he is very low on mana. As you can see, he's down to 30 mana, and it's going to be a bit of an issue because that means he cannot continuously open on this guy. And if that Mountain King was in, if Kenshin was able to actually select that Blade Master when he popped up onto the Mountain King, then he would be able to look at the mana and see, hi, I know for a fact that he's very low on mana, and I know that I'm pretty safe at this point for at least a little bit. Especially if I want to go ahead and creep this, and if he just waits a little bit, then he knows that the Windwalk is going to wear out, and it's going to allow him to actually creep this without much of a problem at all. So I'm going to try to pull this creep camp out a little bit if he can, but it looks like it's not going to happen. Bad positioning for him to wake those creeps up just like that. Not going to be a problem at all this time because he's actually going to be able to get the item as well as the experience right there, picking up a potion of greater healing, which is a great item to have, as you can see, because he is actually being focused heavily on this Mountain King right now. Going to go ahead and TP out instead of opting for losing too many units in this fight, because it's a terrible positioning to be trying to fight this, especially with that Shadow Hunter on its way, and he knew that was the case because he knows the timing of that Shadow Hunter, which comes out at about 4:30, as you can see. Fairly standard timing right there, and we can see a Bestiary going up, double Bestiary play, it looks like, coming in from SoCal and Wind Riders. Now, a very common build to be going against human players who go Mountain King first is Air, and that's simply because whenever you go Mountain King first, you don't have the ability to actually hit air units, except with mercenaries pretty much, because you don't have those summons, those water elementals. Those water elementals are a big deal when it comes to defending Wind Riders, because of course the Wind Riders absolutely demolish, are absolutely demolished by a water elementals pretty heavily, because as you can see they have light armor and they take extra damage from piercing attacks, which is what water elementals do. And that's pretty much why you don't see Wind Riders very commonly used against Archmage, but against the Mountain King, and you can see that there's absolutely really only 2 units here that can attack Air plus Stormbolt, and that's the Forest Troll Berserker, the Forest Troll Shadow Priest, and that's not really a huge amount of damage if there are 4 Wind Riders and a Shadow Hunter, which can just simply hex one of those, and you know, it's not really a big deal. But the other thing is that Wind Riders are really good at canceling buildings that are going up. Really, any kind of light air is actually good at that, but of course in this case there's already going to be towers up, and that's not really going to be the strategy we're going to be seeing SoCal trying to employ here. We can see it looks like a footman getting hexed. It was trying to scout around the map, seeing exactly what was going on, and it's going to go down. You can see that Shadow Hunter about to level 2. There it is, level 2 right off that footman. And if we look up here, you can see where is that Wind Rider army. There's going to be 2 Wind Riders out right now. Going to be having 4 on the way, and some peons are actually running across the map. We might be seeing some sort of a tower push. That would be interesting to see. A little bit uncalled for. I don't know if it's really a good idea to try to tower push, but either way, you can see Kenshin still at tier 1. His tech, or well, he's teching to tier 2. He's very close to tier 2, but the point is that he's still at tier 1 technically. And here comes a blacksmith. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because he still has absolutely no way to really deal with those air units in a fight. And he has to hit tier 2 to get the casters out. And casters, once he has casters, then he can deal with the air units pretty effectively. Of course, getting that blacksmith up as well, that'll be nice and helpful because with the blacksmith, he can make riflemen, and riflemen can deal with Wind Riders fairly effectively as well. But riflemen really aren't what he wants to be making if he can avoid that, at least not right now. And here we come see there's indeed a tower rush coming in. Here come 3 watchtowers going up. You go ahead and see that Forest Troll Berserker getting hexed and focus fired down, having a farm being canceled as well. There are 4 Wind Riders right now, and if we look, we can see that SoCal is at 47 out of 50 food, and Kenshin is at 31 out of 54 food. So Kenshin is not going to be able to defend this very easily. These watchtowers are going to go up. and he's going to lose his barracks right here. These towers in the back, they're probably going to be safe for a little while, but if he loses his keep, he could be in some serious trouble. You have that Mountain King just running around invisible the whole game so far, well, ever since he went invisible, and we can actually see a Griffin Aviary on its way up, 2 Griffin Aviaries as well, and those are going to be built with 2 peasants each after that one finishes its farm. And this could actually be a Dragonhawk counter, for example, or we might, and Dragonhawks would actually be really well if you could go ahead and research Cloud at some point. That could absolutely disable all of those towers. And of course, Aerial Shackles does a really good job of dealing with Wind Riders, because if they the Wind Riders cannot attack, they cannot move, and they're taking damage over time, then it's a pretty serious threat. Here we can see a Blood Mage coming out as well as the second hero for Kenshin, and you can see these towers in the back going to be able to do a bit of defending, but not going to be able to stop the area over here. As you can see, this area is fairly unprotected because the Wind Riders can simply range the towers. However, that's not going to be a huge issue for Kenshin. He's only going to lose, it looks like, 1 peasant right there to this harass, as well as, of course, his barracks. Now here come 2 more very aggressive, or 3 more very aggressive watchtowers, and as well as some raiders. Going to be starting reinforcing that army with raiders at this point. Very good idea to do. You can see a watchtower going up in Sokol's base just in case the human player Kenshin decides that counterattacking would be a more effective measure for dealing with this. And the cool thing about watchtowers is that they have 100 more range than guard towers. As you can see, 800 range and 700 range on those guard towers. That could be a bit of a problem for Kenshin going forward into this match. But with a Blood Mage out, he does have the ability to AoE these towers, and it will do damage to buildings with Flame Strike right there. And if he does get a Flame Strike off, that would be very powerful and very potent against watchtowers. And if we look, we can see that they actually take extra damage from magic attacks. So that's going to be a bit of a scary situation for Sokol if that Blade Master, or I'm sorry, if the Blood Mage actually starts to do that. However, there isn't a shop up yet for Kenshin, so he won't have too many of the. Oh, actually, there's a shop down here, but he's not actually able to really get to it because, as you can see, this army is sitting right outside this main base. But we do actually see some Dragonhawk Riders coming up, and 2 of those Wind Riders are actually going to go ahead and get Aerial Shackled. And you can see one of these Dragonhawk Riders getting ensnared, and it's going to go down. And we're going to see a Shadow Priest going down as well to these watchtowers that are now very offensive and have come up. You see a Hex on one of these other Dragonhawk Riders, so both of those Wind Riders that were Aerial Shackled are actually going to be able to retreat without much problem. And then you can see these farms being focused. We do see Castle Tech going up for Kenshin, and at Castle Tech, if you can get Tree Hero, that would be really, really powerful. Of course, he needs Castle Tech to get the upgrades that he probably wants. He wants to get Cloud. Of course, he wants to get the Griffin Rider Hammers, and getting Castle Tech will help with that. You can see over here that now you can see a little bit of focus fire on these buildings that are going up right here, since he knows this army is down here, and he did see that running down there. So just going to allow him a little bit of time right there. We can see that Mountain King getting hexed, and it's not going to go down because he does have some really nice items right here. As you can see, the bigger issue would be to be concerned more about the Blood Mage. Going to see a hex onto another Dragonhawk Rider though, so not really going to have to worry about that too much. We do see one of these farms has gone down. A shop is going up for Sokol right here, and it's going to allow him to start buying healing salves and healing up his units that are very low on HP right now. And that's going to be very powerful to help stay with this push. Of course, the bigger issue that he really has to consider once again is that down here we do have Kenshin simply teching up, and we're going to see at some point, I think as soon as this Castle Tech is finished, that's going to happen. We're going to see some techs coming in and a very big push coming out for Kenshin. But over here we do see a Demolisher now attacking the castle. Going to be able to put out a little bit of pressure. He really needs to get a couple more of those Demolishers before they're going to be a serious threat, though, to this castle. Of course, now we can see, though, it looks like all 4 of these watchtowers are going to be able to hit this castle. And so I guess really with 4 watchtowers and a Demolisher, that is going to be a bit of a threat to this castle. And so Kenshin really can't afford to lose this castle, because losing the castle would be a pretty big, devastating blow to him. He needs to get that Castle Tech up. As you can see, he's really investing heavily in these Dragonhawk Riders, and he needs to get more of them up here. As you can see, he's definitely repairing this thing as much as possible. And let's see, what will he go with as soon as that castle is finished up here? We'll see. Here comes a Blade Master running in here. The Blade Master is probably just scouting right here. Actually going to go ahead and open up onto that Mountain King just really quickly. And here we do see that Cloud coming in, being researched as soon as he hits castle. Here comes a second Demolisher though. That castle not really in a huge bad situation right here, but we do see a third Griffin Aviary going up right now. And as soon as Cloud is researched, he can absolutely just class Cloud on these watchtowers, and then it's not even going to be a problem. Down here we do see the rest of the Orc army is actually creeping. There are 2 raiders up, so that does mean that If Kenshin decides to push out and then he decides that he has to back off, he's going to lose at least 2 units to ensnare. So if he does go for a push out, he knows that he needs to make it count, and he doesn't want to get ensnared out of position. That will basically be the antithesis of what he needs right now. What he needs is to have one solid push. He can't afford being bled out right now, and that's essentially what we do see SoKal doing right now. We do see now SoKal moving in for the push. Gonna go ahead and get a nice Stormbolt off on that Raider. Maybe SoKal getting a little too antsy there, losing the Raider just like that. Not going to be very helpful for him. If he needs to do more, then he needs to put on more towers. He needs to do something else, but just running into a bunch of human towers as well with a Mountain King right there able to stun you, not really going to be an ideal use of your resources. Now, we do see one of these peasants going to have to back off, actually 2 of them, because they're taking a lot of AoE damage coming in from these demolishers. And this castle, it's at 2-0 masonry, and we do have a shop up now finally in the back of the Kenshin's base. And actually, look at that. Beautiful cloud right there, long range on that watch from that cloud, and as you can see, going to disable all 4 of those watchtowers, and it's going to be just fine. I actually didn't realize that it had such a long range, but that's fine. We're going to see a Hex coming in here onto that one, and a second Dragonhawk Rider will go ahead and take its place, and this is going to allow Kenshin to have a lot of time to deal with this. But here comes a Hex, and now a Stormbolt on that Raider, so there are plenty of Dragonhawk Riders to deal with this, and we're going to see this Raider might go down right here. We'll have to wait and see. Will it happen? No, it's not. But again, once again, another cloud is up on these watchtowers. And we can see this watchtower down here is actually in range of this guard tower up here. And now we do have some 3 Griffin Riders on the way up here. The Griffin Riders will do a really good job of killing these towers very quickly, as well as killing grunts. And with aerial shackles on those Wind Riders, this could be very bad for SoKal. He is definitely going to have to do something here to deal with this. We do have, it looks like 6-7 more Griffin Riders are queued up, and that's going to be scary if he gets all of those out. And we can see Kenshin at 74 out of 84 food right there. Gonna go ahead and see a Dragonhawk Rider getting some damage on it, but he's actually gonna go ahead and nicely banish him, which basically means he can't be taking damage any farther from the physical attacks, which is really nice. We can see these ensnares going off. We can see these Wind Riders being picked off right now. Here comes the Blade Master Harass. I'm sorry, on the Mountain King. The Mountain King is Hex right now. He does have some very nice items. He's gonna get banished though, which gives him enough time to pop that healing potion, and he's gonna be able to stay alive right there. And now we can see a Hex or a bolt coming in onto the Storm Shadow Hunter right there, and now we can see a Speed Scroll. The Orc army trying to get out, as the human army is absolutely overwhelming the Orc army, even with these towers. Of course, these towers right here are clouded, which means they can't actually attack. Though we're going to see another Dragonhawk Rider going down. We might see this Dragonhawk Rider backing off now. Only 1 Dragonhawk Rider still alive at this point. If we look at the armies, we can see Kenshin doing that fight was really smart, because he was actually about to go over 80 food with all of the Griffin Riders he did have queued up. And now he's going to start making some more Dragonhawk Riders, because he does need them for the clouds, and that's very important, as well as the aerial shackles. He does not want to fight in the tower range without at least 1 cloud off on one of these big clusters of towers, which is completely understandable. But again, he would have been over 80 food, so taking that fight, withering down SoKal's army, and keeping his army able to reinforce his army when he did that was really, really smart, and it's basically a really proper use of the mechanics, I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but it's really smart. It was a really good idea. Now you can see a militia coming in here to help fight this. We do see these Griffin Riders actually going to go ahead and take out those watchtowers very quickly. As you can see, they do magic damage, which deals extra damage to watchtowers. There are 3 demolishers up. Those aren't going to be very effective in this fight, as most of these units are air, and they cannot actually be attacked by the demolishers. We do see the Mountain King taking some damage from this Blade Master. He's going to go ahead and pop in Volt Potion, and going to go ahead and try to go on the offensive now, even though he's very low and very, very much going to kill this Blade Master. Maybe it's down to 38 HP. It's very low on life. 1 more attack would kill it, but he actually stopped the attack because he switched to the Shadow Hunter as his target. I'm not sure why he did that. Maybe, no, the dust is still on here. Going to go ahead and see a Mountain King teeping back to his base over here, because he does not want to be taking damage from that Blade Master opening up out of Windwalk. And now you can see that he's going to go ahead and pop up his Skull of Regeneration, and now SoKal's, really his whole offense right here has been shut down by Kenshin. Really well done. That was a really nice, it was a really good tower push, but unfortunately, definitely going to have to end because he gave too much time to Kenshin to just go ahead and take up. And we're going to see that Shadow Hunter going down to a bolt as well. We can see the Blade Master opening up on the Mountain King. I'm going to see a bash onto that Blade Master. Going to go ahead and see him trying to kill this Mountain King. If he goes ahead and gets a banish on the Mountain King, the Blade Master can no longer attack the Mountain King, and the Mountain King is going to go ahead and get killed up with mana, and you can go ahead, or siphon mana, and that'll be allowed to go ahead and call the good game right there. So good game is called by SoKal, and let's go ahead and speed this up till we get to the end. And that's game 1. Congratulations to Kenshin. And we'll see what happens in game 2. Could be very exciting. If you guys would like to check it out, just click right here. And we'll be seeing that in just about a minute. Sounds good? All right, I'll be there. Hopefully you will too.